checkered flag, here I come. Oh no! McQueen is blowing a tire! And with only one turn to go, can he make it?
I genuinely don't know how I'm gonna talk about this. I did my best to jinx him. And wow. Okay guys, so we're going to talk about the first Pocono race. To be fair, I was not expecting to make this video today. I was expecting to make a video tomorrow that goes up on Patreon. Shout out to all the Patreon supporters for always supporting. Thank you guys very much. But what I was expecting was make a video on both races on Patreon for tomorrow night and then upload it on Monday to YouTube. That all changed in like the last 40 laps of this race. And then I was like, well, I kind of got to put something out. And because it's a Saturday and it's a doubleheader thing, I was like, I might as well just put it out on YouTube as well, because this is kind of weird. You can't hold it until Monday. And so Patreon supporters, hopefully you're okay with that, but it's going up at the same time for this one, just because it's a Saturday and it's just kind of weird, you know. I'm so used to the Sunday night Patreon. Yeah, but yeah, all right. So let's get into this. Wait. We have a new Patreon member. I'm sorry, Ryan. Thank you guys for so much for joining. I'm sorry, I almost forgot, but I didn't. See, yay. Okay, so I'm mainly going to talk about the last 30 laps of this race. I don't really care about what happened beforehand. Listen, this is one of those races. I'll openly admit I don't look forward to. I don't look forward to a rock hard tire, 550 horsepower, no tire wear, very difficult to pass. I don't look forward to those kind of races. But once in a blue moon, it is NASCAR. So once in a blue moon, you get something that is very, very interesting. And actually, this race, and guys, be very careful like with what I try to say here. I'm not saying just don't worry. I'm not saying I prefer 550 horsepower. I'm not saying I want this every week. Trust me, I'm not saying that. I don't think if the drivers had to deal with that every week, they'd go insane. But I'm going to talk about perspectives, and I'm going to talk about the race itself. But there are perspectives you have to look at it. Like, you have to look at it from a driver perspective. Like, by the way, actually, real quick, shout out NBC. They did a fantastic job presenting those battles. What they did was they went picture in picture. They always had an onboard view of Kyle Larson, so you can always see what he was going through, while also having an aerial view or the normal broadcast going on as well, with Letarte and Jeff Burton and Dale Earnhardt Jr. giving their insight. That was absolutely beautiful, and NBC deserves a lot of credit, because as you guys are seeing, and I think everyone agrees, their quality in terms of understanding racing and just portraying that as this is like serious, this is a sport, we're taking this this seriously, right? Them doing that comes across. And so big shout out to NBC. They're doing a fantastic job. Now, I just want to break this down, because as a race fan, this is exactly what I like, is very interesting battles. This isn't the battle I prefer. Obviously, like, I'm not trying to be picky. Don't listen. This was very cool to watch. I'm just saying, do you want, if you give me 550 horsepower every week, you're not going to see this very often. This is a very rare, once in a blue moon occasion that we've seen this. And we actually have seen it before. People were mentioning this on Twitter. People were mentioning Harvick and Logano when Logano won by holding off Harvick. And I think it was this package? I think it was something similar to this package where Harvick was clearly way faster and he couldn't make the pass. That was happening here too. And so I was wondering, if Larson never got past, how would this race be looked at? I was actually going to stay off Twitter, because I think a lot of people would have enjoyed it, and then a lot of people would have hated it, and it would have been really, really aggressive in terms of like the debate on that. And so I kind of wanted to stay away from that. Luckily, that didn't happen, because Larson did get around him. But there were a few things about those battles I just want to talk about. Okay, so number one, you have to understand why those battles happen. So you have Kyle Busch. Well, first off, you have Kyle Busch versus Kyle Larson, and then you have Alex Bowman versus Kyle Larson. Now, I will openly admit, I was taking care of the dog on the restart. I actually don't know how Alex Bowman got to the lead, so you guys are actually going to have to explain that to me. I have not been able to look back at it because I was watching on the computer, so I didn't have a DVR. I couldn't rewind or anything. So I saw Alex Bowman in the lead. I had no idea how he got there. I missed the restart, so I don't know. So I thought it would be Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson. Something happened on the restart. Bowman got there. I didn't see it. That's literally the only part of the race I missed. I missed a pretty important part of the race, but I missed it. But let's talk about Kyle Busch versus Kyle Larson first. And first of all, you have a faster car that's behind. That always has to happen. And then the dirty air has to play a lot of effect. And this is what I mean by perspective. So if we take the 700 whatever horsepower, just take the normal NASCAR. You have low downforce, you have to off throttle time, yada yada yada, softer tires, right? You will get a great battle usually when two cars are equal. So if you have Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch and their cars are very equal, then you have a really great battle. Because you are able to run up on someone, you're able to get someone loose. Seen it throughout NASCAR history. When you have two equal kind of cars, and you're able to slide around, those are the best battles you can ask for. And so that is what I prefer from NASCAR. But this is what I mean by perspective. If you have that package, in this situation, this very rare situation, Larson blows by Kyle Busch. I mean, blows by. All it takes is one little run up to his left rear quarter panel, take the air off the tiny spoiler that Busch would have, and he goes right on through. And then the fans would be like, oh, Larson dominated, that was boring. That's what would happen. In this scenario, you handicap Kyle Larson. He has the faster car. You know, he clearly should be able to get past. But you have a spoiler as tall as a mountain and very little horsepower, so you can't really drive up off the corner. As you saw Larson try, he couldn't get to the spoiler and get the other driver loose in both instances. He tried it about 3 to 4 times, trying to get to the quarter panel, trying to take the air off the spoiler. The spoiler's too big. It doesn't even matter. You can't take the air off the spoiler. It's so massive. There's enough air on it. You ain't gonna get loose. Happened to Bowman. Happened to Busch. And so he wasn't able to get around Kyle Busch. So let's advance to Alex Bowman one. I think Alex Bowman had a worse car than Kyle Busch, so it gave Larson a little bit more of a advantage to try pass him. And lap after lap, for 10, 15 laps, you see Larson continue to try and find a way around, and he can't do it. That dirty air is holding him back. Not only that, but I think Steve Letarte made the perfect analogy. There's a beach ball, behind that car. You have to break the bubble of the beach ball, and that's really hard to do. You usually can't do it. So every time Larson gets a run coming off the corner, he gets that little bubble of air. He can't get right to the bumper. Every time Bowman hits his marks, if Bowman hits his marks and puts his left side tires as low as possible, Larson has no clean air. He ain't able to do anything. That happened in the tunnel turn a lot, and then Bowman would actually run higher up in 3 and higher up in 1. And about halfway through the battle, as Larson continues to just end up just not being able to get past and get past, Larson then he figured something out in 1. He was able to get runs and do something. Now let's actually go to the pass. If I have footage of this, I'll show it. I don't know if I do. And plus, even if I do, I can't show it for too long. You guys must understand it's copyright stuff, so you obviously can't show it for too long. What Larson did, I think, when he made the pass on Bowman, is he got right up to Bowman, got in the dirty air, slid up the track. But Bowman cut down to prevent Larson from getting that clean air. And Larson actually somehow, and this is why it was just so incredible to watch Larson at work, because this is just talent on another level to overcome the dirty air that he was faced with. As he is absolutely catapulting up the track because of dirty air and sliding, he puts the foot back in it. He put his foot back in the throttle, and he anticipated the clean air he would have when he when he slid up the track. As Bowman comes down, Larson comes up, and he gets the clean air. As soon as he got the clean air, he hit the throttle because he knew his car would turn once he got it. And that was what allowed him to get to the quarter panel. He broke the bubble, and he got to the quarter panel. And then what was even more incredible, and he was doing this all race, and it just shows the awareness of the side draft and how smart he is. He doesn't side draft Bowman right away. That's what a lot of drivers do. They side draft right away as soon as they get to the quarter panel. Once you notice Larson gets to the quarter panel, he pulls away. He doesn't want the side draft. And if you listen to the onboard, he lifts. The NBC was showing the onboard. He lifted. He was side by side with Bowman, and he lifted.
He's got the side draft.
To the bottom, just inside.
Now Bowman's got him. Just keep him next to him.
That is just the awareness to do that, because that's very risky. If you lift too much, you lose the quarter panel and you lose your chance. He knew exactly what he had to do to get around Bowman, and he knew he could not side draft too early, because if he side drafted too early, Bowman would have pinched him in the tunnel turn, and Larson would have never been able to get around him. And so what Larson does is he lifts down the straightaway, lets Bowman go by, and side drafts him at the perfect time, entering the corner. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was talking about this on the broadcast. Larson catapults Bowman, and that was just beautiful to watch. He literally gets right to him, and then he's able to, at this point, once he gets to him, like 3/4 down the straightaway, he makes sure as he's catapulting, they enter the tunnel turn, so that way Bowman can't pinch him down, and he makes the pass. That was incredible, man. That level of talent, like everything about that, to work so hard to overcome that dirty air. And I saw some tweets about how, like, oh, give credit to Alex Bowman. Yes, give credit to Alex Bowman. He was doing a great job. But, you know, him and Kyle Busch, all they had to do was just make sure you just take a line away. I'm not discrediting them. It's just I'm just saying you don't have to worry about someone getting to your rear bumper and making you loose. That doesn't happen in this package. You can't. There's too much downforce in the car with too little horsepower. So Bowman's job was just don't make a mistake, don't slide up. I mean, that, again, a lot harder said than done, but as long as you don't let Larson get some clean air, you are usually fine. We saw it happen with Harvick and Logano. It was the same exact situation. Harvick couldn't do it. Larson was able to find a way, and I'm telling you, man, to overcome that amount of dirty air, that amount of dirty air was equivalent to sometimes what you see in F1. There are times in F1 at certain tracks where, guys, even with DRS, you can't get around another driver. It is just nearly impossible. What we saw today, and remember, NASCAR doesn't have DRS. You don't have a extra slingshot down a straightaway to help you. You have to do it all based off car and skill and find a way to overcome that dirty air. And the draft barely even helps you once you get too close. It actually pushes you away. So the fact that Larson was able to do that and get around him, overcoming all those odds was I mean, there's just no one better. There is nobody better in the sport right now. You can't tell me otherwise. It is so intelligent how he races. And then, well, yeah, he got rewarded by getting sent into the wall in the final lap, final corner. Yeah, that's just unexplainable how the left front tire went down. I don't know how the left front tire went down. That's actually really interesting. These tires are rock hard, guys. These tires that Goodyear brings, rock hard. They have to be. With this package, we all know the corner speeds are increased. They're going very quickly through the corners. They're putting a lot of load on the tires. They have to be rock hard. So they have no grip, they have no grip. It's just they don't wear. You know, it is how it is. And the only thing is, it doesn't make sense the left front tire went down. I don't. There has to be some sort of the team will probably find out about it, but if anything, the right front tire is what's getting destroyed. I mean, that's the tire that's getting destroyed. Why does the left front go down? I don't know. I mean, Larson obviously was pushing very hard. Sometimes that left front tire was in dirty air, but I don't know. That was very, very weird. You saw the smoke heading into 3, and you went up the track. Like, you would understand if it was the right front tire, right? If it was the right front tire that went down, you would get it. He was destroying his tires. There was a moment with 10 to go. I thought to myself, I was like, maybe he should back off, like at least like 7, 8 tenths. Just literally back off and cool your stuff. Because even though these tires are rock hard and you know they don't wear, they still do overheat. That's still a thing. And I thought he was maybe overheating his stuff. And he should have just backed off. He did back off like maybe 5 tenths and then got back up there, but he never really gave a lot of time to cool his stuff off. I don't think that would have made a difference. That's just a freak accident. It happened in the Indy 500, right? I don't remember the driver it happened to. Did it happen to? Was it Hildebrand? Guys, who was the driver in the Indy 500 that hit the wall in the final corner last lap? Was that Hildebrand? Hildebrand or Andretti? One of the two. I don't remember. I'm sorry. My IndyCar history is not the best. But yeah, then Alex Bowman goes ahead and wins the race. And he has 3 wins on the season. I literally said in a video earlier this week when I was talking about Jeff Gordon that I was like, Alex Bowman, you know, I think he's all right. He does have 2 wins. I mean, now he has 3. I did the reverse jinx. I was like, maybe Bowman isn't that great. Larson's fantastic. And look what happens this week. I'm a terrible person. Jesus. No, but he has 3. He has the same amount of wins as Truex and only 1 less than Larson. I don't know how that works. I mean, that honestly probably the 3 quietest wins I've ever seen in a NASCAR season. I mean, Denny Hamlin hasn't even won a race. Neither has Kevin Harvick, and Bowman has 3 wins. I don't know what's going on. What kind of matrix are we living in? Again, no disrespect to Bowman, but if you were telling me at the beginning of this season Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick would have 0 wins and Bowman would have 3, you would be drug tested, okay? We all know that. I would be drug tested, you would be drug tested, it would all be, all right? So I'm just saying, don't blame me. That's all I'm saying, okay? Because it doesn't make sense. It makes absolutely 0 sense. But yeah, what a race. And just to round it out, the whole package debate, here's what I want to say about the package. There are instances where you just shouldn't think about the package, and this was one of them. And sometimes having a worse driving race car, and this is where I'm going to talk about perspective. It's really important. Having a worse driving race car, you know, with dirty air and more on throttle time. Yes, that's not how drivers want to drive. but you wouldn't get that battle if you know, we made it easier to pass. I mean, I'm not saying make it harder to pass. It's just a situation that arose very organically and oddly weird how it did. It just happened. Like if we had 900 horsepower and little downforce, that race wouldn't have happened unless you had someone equivalent to the speed that Larson and the 5 team have, which they don't. So Larson would have dominated. That's all I'm saying. So like the fans would have been upset because Larson would have been able to get around Kyle Busch and whatever and dominate the race. So that's like the perspective I'm talking about. From a fan perspective, it worked because you put two guys into a battle. The battle was really weird, and you're driving around air and everything. It's not obviously what most people want, but it's a battle. And it was very intriguing because you have one guy that's clearly faster and trying to get around, and it makes it a little bit intriguing. But from a driver perspective, if you had to drive that race car, you'd be livid. You'd be like, why do I have to deal with this dirty air? Why are we driving a rock hard tire? Why do we have this car that is so aerosensitive? Like, from a driving perspective, if you had to drive that car, you would be absolutely pissed off because you cannot showcase your talent. You're being held back by all these aerodynamics, right? Lewis Hamilton talks about it in Formula One all the time. Lewis Hamilton, when there are races in Formula One where you can easily tell the dirty air just it controls everything, and without DRS you really can't pass. He talks about it. He's like, yeah, I wish the cars would be, harder to drive and easier to pass, less dirty air, less aero sensitivity. That's from a driving perspective. From a fan perspective, if you give them that, in this situation only, you don't get that good of a finish. But in other situations, you get 2011 Atlanta, you get 2003 Darlington, you get Kyle Busch and Jeff Gordon. I was thinking a lot about 2011 recently, so I'll bring up a lot of 2011 references. But you get 2011 Phoenix. What else? There was a lot of good races in 2011. 2011 Auto Club. Was that 2011 or 2012 with the Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano incident? I think it was 2011. But you see those instances, where Kevin Harvick makes a last lap pass, those instances aren't possible with this package. You need that for the other package. So do you get what I mean? So like this was the perfect situation for this package because you had a really fast guy who needed to be held back. If he wasn't held back, he would have just obliterated the field. And then in those other situations, when you have cars that are more equal and you let the drivers showcase their talents, you get those kind of battles, which are also very, very awesome and what I prefer and what I think is NASCAR racing. So that's like what I'm trying to get at. It's a very interesting kind of little case study because you have to understand what the package brings and like how it came about, like what kind of chemical lab experiments we put in there to make that happen. And that was just really interesting and cool to watch. But just remember, this is not what I want. I think most NASCAR fans, we all know this is not what we want in the long term. We prefer those sliding battles, but hey, no one's going to complain about this one. It made a Pocono race in late June, which is usually very, very irrelevant and no one cares about. It made it memorable, and we'll think about this one and remember this one. So that's all that matters. All right, I'm going to end it there because this is getting pretty long. I will see you guys later. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, understood my perspectives and everything about that. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you're not already. Comment down below what you think, and send over any memes to me on Twitter and Instagram about Larson hitting the wall. I don't know yet what I've decided for this intro. Well, obviously you've already seen it, but we'll have something up there. And so yeah, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. Everything in the description below. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys on YouTube. I'll see you guys back here on Monday. So take care of yourselves. Peace out.